taxes, and New York continues, evidenced by the guy that just told you don't wait on New York. From an economic point of view, what can you offer specifically that would give some level of assurance to New Yorkers that you have a plan to, quote unquote, save New York State economically?
The state should be operating off of a state spending cap. It would have been great if the state had been operating off of a state spending cap over these last few years. New York has been receiving massive bailouts from the federal government. That money is used to just spend on priorities. Whatever gets spent in the new budget ends up becoming the new baseline for the next year's budget. The trajectory right now of spending is unsustainable. In order to afford this spending, they just continue to talk about new taxes, as we saw about 18 months ago when we had a pretty significant rate hike then. The federal government gave New York State a multi-billion-dollar unemployment insurance loan. Now, what other states did as they were receiving the federal bailout was that they used it to pay off the principal. But the way this state currently does their financing, they kicked the can. They just spent the money, they didn't pay off the principal, and then the Department of Labor hit all with a letter that said at the beginning of September you're going to have to pay for it yourself. So that the way that we do budgeting in this state has been very irresponsible. We have to unleash different businesses and industries. I have spoken throughout my entire campaign about allowing the southern tier and some other counties to be able to extract natural gas. They're desperate for it. Create jobs, generate revenue, revitalize communities. It allows us to more easily be able to lower taxes. There are pipelines right now where the applications are collecting dust up in Albany, being delayed, denied, and instead should be getting approved. You have economic development grant programs where the state picks winners and losers based off political calculations and connections. It's not right. Instead of asking the state legislature to be giving me these massive pots as they exist right now so that I can give people money and then show up in a community and then demand that they thank me for giving them their money back, what you should be doing is just leveling the playing field. With our state agencies, much of how they've operated in recent years is that it's given businesses the impression that the state agencies are there to prosecute businesses, not support businesses. That has to change. The people who are running the state agencies, the cultures in the state agencies. There are ways to save money in spending. You see some big ticket items across the board, one of which inside of Medicaid, multi-billion-dollar savings that would have been realized if the Medicaid Redesign Team 2 proposal had gone into effect. The state really flubbed the conversion to managed long-term care a little over a decade ago. That system has been taken advantage of. It's been well reported as it was happening a decade back. These changes need to be made. It was actually part of the state's Medicaid Redesign Team 2 plan. So you have to look at the spending side. On the tax side, I support getting rid of the estate tax in New York. I personally, I'd be in favor of there not being an income tax, but even if you're able to reduce the income tax across the board, even a reduction would be positive progress. Where New York might be 50th or 49th or whatever in business climate, it's progress just to move that number up. As far as the tax burden, the cost of living in New York, what we see is progress. It's not that you wake up on January 1st and magically we're the 5th best business climate in the state, or we're the one of the most friendly tax environments in the state. It's going to take time. We're going to have to work with the legislature. It's not going to be easy because there are people in the legislature who actually feel like taxes should be raised, not cut. You get a phone?
It sounds like on day one of the Zeldin administration, those things that you just highlighted would be some of the changes that immediately would put into effect.
So what happens right away is that the governor has to present an executive budget. That's going to happen in January. If you're in your 6th year as governor, a well-oiled machine, everyone's in their places, and you have a full year to prepare the next year's budget, it's still a lot. What we're going to do is, we'll be waking up a week from today if everything goes as we hope, and it's basically 2.5 month run of staffing up personnel all throughout the state as well as the policy front and creating a budget. We don't we will not have a day to waste, but we have an opportunity. As soon as we're instituting that first executive budget, and in New York State, the executive budget is a very important part of the process. In Washington, a president puts out a budget policy statement, but the process starts in the House of Representatives. In Albany, the governor puts out an executive budget, and that's the start of the process, and the governor has a lot of power in the process. So what we're talking about here as it relates to tax and spend policies, we will have the largest of opportunities straight out of the gate right after we're sworn in.
Thank you.
Mr. Zeldin, a number of city officials and even an elected official have been seen taking down Zeldin lawn signs around the city. I wonder how you feel about that.
Listen, we have a lot of people who are very actively engaged in this process, and they proudly display signs in their front yard. They might be hanging it on a gate in their front yard. And it's a sight that a lot of people inside of New York City haven't seen before. A Republican candidate having so much support that is being expressed through these signs that are placed in their community. Part of the process playing out is if you want to go put signs up on your yard for your candidate, that's fine. But what you shouldn't be doing is going into someone else's yard. Now, if you're a state assemblyman, you should be spending your time knocking on doors. You're on the ballot as well. Go advocate on behalf of yourself or the candidates you support. You could go put up signs for your own candidate, but don't be going around taking off signs from other places. I understand the shock that they might be going through, where they're seeing so much outspoken, proud support for us. That's a good thing. I encourage everybody to vote. I'm running to be the governor for all New Yorkers. Whether I go everywhere asking for people's support for my candidacy. But when I wake up the day after the election, it's a week from today, I'm looking to be the governor for all New Yorkers. For people who are currently in office, they have to understand that these people are in their districts. So while they have constituents who are supporting different candidates, you should respect that.
So I wonder if you think that the reason this is going on is because Democrats are worried about the fact that you're breathing down Kathy Hochul's neck, and they're worried that you're going to.
Yeah, I mean, it's 100% because they haven't seen this level of support before inside of the city. Right now, the numbers that we're expecting out of Staten Island, Brighton Beach, Bay Ridge, Borough Park, Williamsburg, Crown Heights, Middle Village, the list goes on. The support that we're getting from inside the Dominican community, the Orthodox Jewish community, these pockets of Asian American voters will do better with the black community than Republican candidates of the past. And I understand that there's a shock value to that for the Democrats, but quite frankly, Kathy Hochul caused this with her policies. She had an opportunity when she came into office, August of 2021, to be able to just hit the ground running, be tough on crime, to make life in New York more affordable. She made decisions that have alienated a lot of New Yorkers, and even if they're Democrats, they're supporting us. And as a consequence, we're going to do very well in New York City compared to Republican candidates in the past.
So is this Democratic paranoia about your candidacy?
I don't know what they want to call it.
Well, what would you call it?
I think that there are Democrats who are shocked to see massive enthusiasm again. I think that there are Democrats who are shocked to see just how often I am there in their districts and in these communities where there hasn't been a Republican showing up what feels like ever. And then I come back over and over and over and over and over again. But that's a good thing that I'm showing up. But I guess if you're running a campaign and you're a partisan, and you're not happy to see that there's Republicans who are making outreaches to people who live in your community, that's something that they're going to have to get over after next Tuesday. After next Tuesday, I'm willing to work with absolutely anyone to find common ground however possible. Quite frankly, today, I'm willing to work with anyone to find common ground however possible. But here's the next hurdle. is that for the next 6 days, while these people you reference are shocked to see just how active we are in their areas, just how much enthusiasm we are getting from people in their communities, and how laser-like we are focused on the issues that matter most to people in their communities, what they're gonna have to get over is that when the voters speak and we move on past next Tuesday's election, their job is to work together for the mutual constituent. And I think in this state, we have to do a much better job of everybody coming together to serve New York City and to serve New York State.
Does it make you angry though?
No,
How come?
it's really hard to make me angry. Yeah, this is not about being angry that a Democrat is shocked that I'm showing up. I'm angry about the crime that we see. I am shocked when we're standing there on the debate stage and Kathy Hochul is saying that she doesn't understand why it's so important to me that we need to be locking up criminals. And there's some shock value and some anger. But as far as me getting angry about a Democrat upset that I'm showing up in his or her community, that's just something that they need to get over.
Excellent.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.